Welcome to Adobe Live. I am here with the wonderful Kladi from Printmysoul. Kladi, say hi.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Kladi is in Manchester right now. I am currently in Colorado, Denver. So let me know, guys, where you are tuning in from. And today is going to be such an exciting stream. You can see with the parties ready. The party is ready to go for you guys. And today we're going to do some photo compositing in Photoshop. And later on, we're also going to use stock and Illustrator. So it's going to be such an interesting 2-day stream. And tomorrow we're going to continue the work. Kladi will talk to you guys a little bit about what we're going to do. But first, let's take a look at our Daily Creative Challenge page, which I encourage you guys to take a look at, because this is where you guys can participate in the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Today, in about 90 minutes, we are going to be reviewing the daily creative challenges from you guys from the Discord channel. So make sure to click here on the community chat, and this is where you can submit today's challenge. Today's challenge has to do with mockup prep on design that Kathleen has been working with you guys so tirelessly for the past week. And today you guys can make a mockup for design and post it to our Discord channel. This is where we are kind of getting together, communicating, giving each other feedback and learning from each other. So it's going to be super, super cool to review some of your guys' designs. All right, cool. So we're looking forward to that in about 90 minutes. And make sure to follow Kladi on Instagram. It's I am Kladi, or it's Printmysoul, which is her design studio. Now, I would like to give over to Kladi to talk a little bit more about herself and what she does. She's an amazing, she's a very artsy designer. She's really, really amazing. So I want to give Kladi the chance to tell a little bit more about what she's doing.
Before you switch the screen, Julia, why don't we share your Instagram as well? Because we're both creatives. So it's nice to share everyone's work.
If you guys want to follow me, it's Julia Masalska on Instagram. And as you can see, I'm kind of trying to share my knowledge with you guys. I also have a YouTube channel, which you can check out in the links. So make sure to join us on Instagram. Let's get in touch. Let's get connected. And let us know where you guys are tuning in from. If you guys are a newbie, let us know in the chat. We want to kind of keep the chat interactive. And by the way, if you're tuning in from YouTube, make sure to go to behance.net/live. This is where Kladi and I are going to be reading the chat. So I'm looking forward to see you guys in the chat. All right, now I'm handing it over to Kladi.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So hi, everyone. I can see so many amazing familiar faces. And Julie, sorry if I was giggling before when you were talking, but I can see that the Italian lessons are keeping up here during Adobe Live. I can definitely see Steve saying buongiorno, and then RB, buongiorno, signora Printmysoul. So we are definitely joining Italian lessons with Adobe Live. But I also want to say hi to Dee, Vanessa, Marwani, Cody Bear in the chat, helping us out, giving a shout out with all the amazing links. Thank you so much, Cody, for your help. And also we have Eli, Sergio, Jose, Carol Pearl, fantastic. Simi, Mohammed.
And we have Vanessa here. Thanks, Vanessa, for joining. And Marwan is from Algeria. Let us know, guys, which country you guys are from. We always want to see, the international connection. We know you guys are all from different time zones. So thanks for tuning in. Although in some countries it might be, past the bad time. So thanks so much for that. Kladi, let's talk about you. Let's talk about what you're doing. Let's talk about what we're going to be doing for the next 2 days.
I don't know if we're already seeing my screen. Otherwise, if we can move up to my screen, I can already start by revealing a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be working on today. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And we have here, as you probably guys know, Julie already said, my Instagram is at I am Kladi. And if you're wondering if I'm going to ever take my glasses out, I probably will, but maybe I'll keep them for a little while. So my website is iamkladi.com. As Julia said, I'm Italian designer, visual strategist based in Manchester, UK, where I run a design studio called Studio Printmysoul. And you can also visit that website in order to see more of a commercial portfolio of website and graphic designs and all that good stuff. But for these particular sessions on Adobe Live, the great place to be is on my tutorial website, which is called iamkladi.com. And in particular, if you tune in on the iamkladi.com/resources, you will be able to follow along during these 2-hour streams, because I've done a little folder here with a nice preview. So just above Julie's head, Julie, point out for me, please. Just point it up, right up. Here it is. Fantastic. So this is the composite that we're going to be using, that we're going to be creating today. Is a mixture of photography, Illustrator, vector files, stock images, a good bunch of amazing techniques put together in order to realize a more artistic approach to photo compositing. And there are 2 things to do. One, if you click on the link where it says Adobe CC Library, you're actually gonna be linked up to my library. So you'll be able to use exactly the same color that I use. And I'm gonna, of course, teach you how to create your own, but you got a starting point and understanding of how your library should look like. And also, if you click on starter files, you should be able to see all the Adobe stock previews that I've used. And even some of, I actually left in the folder some of the artwork, like this one, for example, that I ended up not using for the final. But I think that is quite interesting to see the process behind a composite. In fact, let me jump into stock. And this is actually something that we're going to be playing with afterwards, because probably, as some of you know, afterwards I'm tuning in with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. So that was
Kladi has a full day streaming today. And there's one question, Simi saying, can we still do this if we don't know Adobe Illustrator? Yes, you can. We are going to be working in Photoshop mainly, and there will be lots of things to learn. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll definitely make it so that you can understand. And if you cannot understand something, or if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, because this is what the chat is for, right? We want to ask questions. We want to, ask Kladi maybe some questions. So if you have any questions about, how to work as a designer, or, tips and tricks and so on, maybe we can ask some questions in between so she can talk a little bit more and tell us about her experience.
So also wanted to thank you so much, Julia. I completely agree. I also wanted to share with you that, as I always say, and I think is very important to remember, that this is a safe space to learn. So even when we do the challenges, we're here. I learned so much from you guys in the chat. Whenever you guys tell me something or give me some advice, I'm learning, and I'm learning while I'm preparing. So absolutely, Simi, even if you never used Illustrator, this is actually an opportunity for you to learn new techniques. And something will be a little bit more advanced, but the most important thing is that you'll have an understanding on you can use and combine the apps together, because it's very, very useful. So let's actually, I was starting by browsing stock, and maybe since I'm here, I can still do that. So stock is pretty cool because you can search images, videos, audios, template, 3D, and also editorial templates. So usually what my research, as you can see, was woman and colorful, because I was looking for something that was bold. So I had all these beautiful images coming up, and then I kind of searched on one image that I like. So this one really got my attention, because I'm already thinking of masking and the sort of techniques that I can apply when I develop a composite. So I like when there is a nice contrast and some negative space, which is the empty space that we can use in order to create and layer up more elements. And then what I usually do is to click on Find Similar. And as you can see, when you click on Find Similar, it brings other images that are based on the same pose or on the same color. And you can actually here start to narrow down your filters if you want the composition, the content, or the color. Or something that is even super cool is that you can search based on the model. So let's see, perhaps we're looking at this image here, and we can search more from this model. So there are so many different ways that you can browse Adobe Stock. I use it very often. I think it's a fantastic starting point. And unfortunately, because because of the lockdown and because I stay sitting down and work a lot in my house, I don't have a huge time for shooting. I usually do that when I travel. So I think that that's a fantastic starting point. But let's jump into Photoshop. As you can see here, I already have a file open, but if you
library,
are starting, sorry?
You have a whole library already with
Yes.
different images. Yeah, I think
Yes.
libraries are super, super cool to use for you guys. Just the background information, libraries are there to kind of keep files in different and being able to access them in different applications. So if you're using a CC library, you can open those files in all the different Adobe software, and even it can be typefaces, it can be colors, it can be different kinds of graphics. So once you create this library, you can access it from all the Adobe software.
Fantastic. So I can see Simi saying, thank you, Kladi, for motivating me. Of course, Simi, we're here to like supporting each other. That's like number one task before even learning the apps. Having fun and motivating each other, supporting each other are our really fundamentals. And Jotumi is saying that he's also doing both challenges.
Photoshop
So
and Illustrator. That's awesome. I think that's a great combination, honestly, because Illustrator is more on the vector side, and Photoshop, sometimes I use both because I need to create a mock-up after creating something in Illustrator. So those go really, really well together, and it's totally great. And also XD, I think, is a great addition to that as well, to kind of create animations and easy user flows and stuff like that. So make sure to participate in all the daily creative challenges you can get, because those are really bite-sized and make it really easy to learn things.
Fantastic. So as I was saying, I've shared with you the library, and a way that you can see and check your libraries, like Julia was saying, they are available in all apps. And a way that you can actually browse your libraries is by opening the Creative Cloud app from your desktop, the one that with the beautiful rainbow. And then all you have to do is to click on the very first little icon on the top left of the bar that says show libraries, and then those are all my libraries showing up here. You can also order them, and what I did in order to share the link with you is simply click on these three dots and then click on get link. And as you can see, it's super easy to create a link that then you can share with other people. Or if you're collaborating and perhaps working in a team or just working with another designer, so let's say if me and Julia wanted to work together right now, I can actually put Julia Adobe ID email here, and she'll be able to
use the same library. It's awesome.
Yes, of course. So ready to go. But let's start by building the file from scratch, because I know that some of you, I see Alberto, what's up, man? I hope you're good. So I see that many of you are here very often, but I know that some of you are just starting. So let's start fresh. In order to open a new document, all you have to do is click on create new. And then in this case, I'm gonna select web as an intent, because I'm looking forward to create an artwork that is going to go online. In fact, I'm going to publish this work on Behance. So I'm looking for something that is pixel based and is RGB color space. So if you select the intent into web, that's fantastic. Or you can also use the art and illustration that allows you more flexibility. The web also gives you some standard size and preset that will allow you already to select, for example, 1920 by 1080 is the standard size, and perhaps we can go with that. But if you want to create a size that is good for Behance, if you perhaps are working on the composite alongside me and you want to publish your work on Behance as well, make sure to remember that the size that you want to create your file in terms of width is a minimum of 1400 pixels. So I'm going to name my file, and I'm going to call it colorful
And by the way,
composite.com.
those changes you can still, those adjustments you can still change in the file settings later on. So you can still go from RGB to CMYK mode and the other way. And also, of course, we can adjust the size of the artboard later on. So this is just to have already a preset and, you know, to have things already kind of set for your work.
Fantastic. So all I did is click on create. And as you can see here, I have opened my artboard. Then I'm going to go ahead and start to work on my libraries. This is the library that you will find, but I want to start to create another library so it's not too confusing. And in fact, what I'm going to do here, first of all, is to save my file, because I usually forget to do that. So I'm going to press Command S, because right now all we did is to create a file, but we also want to make sure that we save it somewhere. So I'm going to press Command S to save it. And then I'm going to open Window and Libraries, just in case the panel is not active for you. And when you open your libraries, the first thing that you have here is a bar, which is a search bar that allows you to jump straight away into the search bar. So what we were looking before into the Adobe Stock website is actually available directly into Photoshop. And you don't have to do much, meaning you don't have to leave the app. You can stay concentrated and focused in your work, and you can browse the library directly within the app. But before starting to creating a library, before starting to importing your work, I'm going to actually create a library. And you do that by clicking on the down pointing arrow here. Yeah.
Vanessa is saying, love how organized your library is.
Well, believe it or not, actually, Photoshop organizes that for you.
Yeah. So all the colors are together, all the typefaces are together, and all the graphics are together.
Correct. And otherwise, you can see it by group. So if you wanted to organize it yourself, and here, Vanessa, you're going to see that I'm not organized at all. If you see it by group, you'll be able to group them. So for example, if I wanted to select all these little flower, all I'm doing is to click on each one of them and holding Shift, and then I'm click on the little folder here, and I could create a group called flower. So that would be being a very organized, good designer.
Yeah, I think that makes sense if you have so many different graphics and so many different colors, so that you want to organize them with groups. I also do that when I am working with a client, and sometimes it's easier for them to understand, you know, what objects belong together. So sometimes you can even export this library and share it with your client for future projects. So let's say the client has a new designer that they're going to be working with. You can share this library, and the designer can open the same exact library in their file.
Yes, super correct. So that's exactly what we did with sharing the file before. And what I was saying here is to create a new library, all you have to do is to click on the down pointing arrow and click on create new library. And this will allow to create a brand new library. So I'm going to call this one color comp, and then click on create.
Andrew Kavanagh is saying, hi, Kladi.
Hi, Andrew. So Andrew is a friend of mine. He runs a fantastic Lightroom and Photoshop group on Facebook. Make sure to give him a shout and go and follow him. He shares a lot of super useful information and tutorials and tips. So Andrew, thank you so much for being here, and nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. I'm following him actually also on Facebook, the Photoshop group. It's really awesome.
Yes, I believe it does Photoshop and Lightroom as well. So what Tornado Disaster Zone, Steve, are you talking about my libraries? Fantastic. So when you're ready and you created your new library over here, as you can see, is empty. There are two things that you can do. One is to perhaps go from whatever file you have. So let's just pretend I'm here opening my Illustrator files with the challenges, but I just have an image here. So all you have to do is to click and drag and drop it into the library, and it gets absolutely straight away in a second uploaded into your library. Now we don't need that, so we can click and then click on the little bin icon in order to delete it. Or we can go back and start searching on Adobe Stock. So for example, what I was searching was woman and then colorful, I believe. And as you can see, everything that was showing up before, oh, definitely I misspelled colorful. Everything that was showing up before on the website is now available for us to sync within our library. So we're not going anywhere. Awesome. We're just doing that within Photoshop.
Super. There is a question from Ferry in between. Yeah. Do I have to use complementary colors to color grade my artwork?
Oh, that's a good question. I would love to see and I would love to see an example, because I always say there is no a right or wrong answer to any question, because it depends to your project. It depends to the general look and feel that you want to achieve. The idea of using complementary colors, so for example, orange and blue, the color they're sitting opposite to each other in the color wheel, is because those are exactly because they're sitting opposite to each other, they have a more balanced look, exactly like we're seeing. We have a wonderful example here with the magenta and the blue, although it's not necessarily, because perhaps you want to have a more smooth result, so you can colorize it and create a gradient map just with the monotone, so perhaps with a darker blue instead of the magenta or an orange. So again, feel free to, if you have any question, to share and ping me on either Instagram or on Discord if you want me to have a look at the project that you're working on, because I think it will be much better to have an idea on the actual project. But going back to our libraries, as I was saying, if you click on the little plus icon, you'll be able to bring the asset right away into your library. And if you then click, and I'm going to zoom in here into my screen, if you click on the little cart icon, that will allow you to purchase and license. Oops, Siri, we don't need you.
Oh, we get some compliments in the chat. Mickey is saying pretty girls with beautiful content and detailed guide. Ooh,
thank you so much. I'm gonna put my glasses on again. I'm feeling this.
Asha is saying hi. Can you please share the name of Andrew's group? I think Andrew posted a link just a little above, so make sure to check that out. It's a really cool group. You'll probably learn a lot about Photoshop, Lightroom, and also, of course, photography. So
and also the fantastic Cuddy Bear has already shared the clickable.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. That's perfect. Amazing. Thank you so much.
So it's a Photoshop Lightroom group with Andrew Canavan. Fantastic. So what happened here is that I created the library before, and then I decided, I was thinking about moving all the assets, but then I realized that if I'm starting to move the assets, that's the library that I share with you. So I'm pretty much going to modify that, while I want you to have access to all the file that I was using. So now that you have an idea on how to create your own library and browse Adobe Stock in order to bring new files, perhaps the last thing that I wanted to show you here, so that's how you bring in images. Another very cool thing that you want to do, and I'm going to go back into the new library, is perhaps to search vectors. So far we've seen how to bring in photos, but if for example we want flowers and we want to make sure that we can edit the single component of the flowers, all we have to do is to go here on this down pointing arrow, which is the filter, and then select only vectors. So as you can see here, we will have fully editable EPS Adobe Illustrator files that we're going to see just in a second once we download. So I'm going to perhaps going to add this to my composition, and then I'm going to license it by clicking on the little card. Adobe Stock is asking me, are you sure you want to license it? I'm like, yes, let's do this. Look what happened here. When you double click onto, oh, I'm revealing the challenge. That's not fair. You guys are having an overview on the challenge there. Sneak peek. So when you double click on your actual asset, even if you are in Photoshop, it automatically launches Illustrator, and from here you'll be able to start to work with the different vectors. But we're gonna see that in details once we start the composite. So I'm gonna jump in the previous library that I filled with all the different images. Again, if you're just tuning in, if you head to my website on iamkladi.com/resources, should be right here, you'll be able to get all the starter files and also the CC library. So this is under the resources link right here. And super this is cool. the final output that we're looking to achieve today. And by the way, tomorrow we're working on something different. So I've got to hurry up because there is a lot of things to do. So I'm going to start by bringing my hero photo, which is usually the one that contains the main subject of a photo. And as you can see, I was pretty unsure between these two lovely ladies, because I love headscarves and doing things with my hair. So that's like, if you have to picture yourself, that's my dream sort of look. I love the color. I love the way she's dressed. I love the hairband. I think it's fantastic. But then I decided I
got a picture like that too. Really? I did that once as well. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I don't have that curly hair, but I did put it up, and I did put this this hair like
scarf.
Scarf, yeah.
Yes, yes,
It looks
yes.
really cool. It looks really cool. I think on anyone, it's just you can just play with colors so much. I love it.
Robzilla, nice to see you here. Thank you so much. And Robzilla, I say move the assets. If I move the assets, all my amazing friends here want to have access to them. They're all ready. If we want to show how to move the assets, we can perhaps do that. But then I'm going to put it right back so you can have it. So let's share on how to move the assets, because it's important for everyone to know that that's possible. So let's say that now I create a new library, and I don't want to share with you guys this one with all the different assets, but I want to share just one with you. Well, fantastic. All you have to do is to select an image that you want to share, perhaps this one here, and then right click, and then click where it says move to, and you can select the library that you want to move it to. So for example, if we select the new library that we just created, which is called Color Comp, all you have to do is to click once, and then as you can see, we go back to Color Comp is right there.
And bam!
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Cool.
So
Greyback is saying Kladi rocks. Yeah, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Kladi is a rock star, a Photoshop rock star, an Illustrator rock star.
I think that everyone that works there, we can say in a diplomatic way, everyone that works hard is a rock star. That's my biggest belief. So working hard and play hard, that's absolutely my goal. And
yeah, I have a story on that actually. I have an Instagram follower, and he was like asking me questions all the time. And I was wondering, like, okay, I was answering the questions and trying to help out. And then it turns out this person is only 17. And I'm like, oh, this is so great. I was actually thinking, I don't have that much time to kind of give feedback to like every single design. But, when you start at a young age, it can only be good. Honestly, if you are 15, 16, 17 and you're starting off with Photoshop and Illustrator, you're gonna be great by the age of 20. You're gonna be a pro. So I always recommend you guys the earlier you start. It's all a matter of time and exercise. The more you exercise your brain muscles on Photoshop and Illustrator, the better it gets.
Of course, work hard and you get the result. But let's start working hard on this one.
Let's do it.
I'm really excited to show you this. So there are a bunch of things that we're going to be doing here. First and foremost, we're going to start by creating a smart object. And we're going to do that by right clicking on our layer and click on convert to smart object. Now, the reason why we want to be doing that is because when we transform a layer into a smart object, we'll be able to make adjustments and distortion and create filters in a non-destructive way. So we'll be able always to come back to the original photos. And in fact, I'm going to double click because that's the second superpower of the smart object, the fact that they work as a container. We can chuck in there everything that we want, and then when we leave and we come back into our file, everything is nice and clean and all the mess is contained within the smart object. So what I'm going to start by doing here is to work into my mask, and there are two ways that we can do this one. So one, we can perhaps click under properties and remove the background, even if we do have to rasterize the file. As you can see now is a file that is connected to our Creative Cloud library, but we can rasterize it because we're not gonna change that file. So I'm gonna right click and rasterize and perhaps remove my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. And as you can see, once we rasterize it, we have the option of removing that background, and boom, Adobe Sensei, which is Adobe Artificial Intelligence, has done a fantastic job. There is just a little tiny bit here, perhaps in the mouth. But if that's not your preferred way of working and you want to explore different ways of creating a mask, I'm going to press Command Z to undo. I'm going to click on our object selection tool here in order to bring up our select and mask workspace. I'm going to click on select and mask, and I'm going to have this view, which is called onion skin, that allows us to see a selection and play with the transparency based on the selection. So at the moment, nothing is selected. So if we set the transparency to 0, everything is showing up. And of course, 200, everything is hiding. So I'm going to leave it to a middle where we can see barely the image. And then when we go ahead and click on select subject, look what happened. We can actually see a little bit of the background and use the transparency in order to understand. And this is very useful when we are actually working with a perhaps more complex object in the background, because it allows us to see if we're missing something. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because, see, Julie, we got like some eyelashes here at the back, and I really want to make sure that we got those. But looks like that they are pretty much there. Something else that I'm going to do is also to smoothen my selection over here and then bump up the contrast. So as you can see, we have sharper edges on the side. Fantastic.
That's
and
perfect.
Then all you have to do is to click on OK. And what I'm going to do
my
here,
t-shirt matches her earrings. Isn't
yes,
that cool?
That's fantastic. I'm going to click on the brush tool and use the right curly bracket in order to make our brush smaller, and making sure that we have black here on the toolbar on the foreground. I'm going to go ahead and hide those pixels. Remember, black conceal, white reveal. And here I would just suggest to zoom in as much as you can and make your brush tiny. Of course, I'm working with a mouse. So if you're working with a pen, usually that's the best way to go. And here I want to show you more things, so I'm just gonna do it as a best for the time that we have. But I always suggest to work on your details, because they do really make the difference.
Details, God is in the details.
Yes.
Camila is asking, what's the difference between making it a smart object or rasterizing it?
So rasterizing it is flattening an image. So as you can see, this layer over here is rasterized. You can spot on straight away the difference because the layer doesn't have any icon at the bottom. So when you use the image and you start to apply, let's say a color adjustment or a filter, you are going to destroy the image, and you always have to go and do Command Z in order to undo and come back to the original. While if you work with a smart object, any changes that you're going to do is going to be not destructive. And I'm going to just show you that in a second. So first of all, right now I'm inside our smart object. So I'm going to press Command S to save and then Command W to close it. And as you can see, I don't know who was asking the question, Julie. Camila, yeah. Camila, now this layer has this little icon here, which is is Photoshop letting us know that we do have created a smart object. And if, for example, right now I want to apply, let's say, I'm just going to do this real quick, a camera raw filter, and then make some edits. So I'm just going to make something, let's see, something that we're not going to keep. So perhaps change the temperature and make an adjustment filter that I don't want to change. First of all, you can toggle it off and toggle the visibility off, but also you can grab it and bring it to the bin, and it doesn't affect the image at all. While if you would have doing that into a normal rasterized file, that would have been a definite adjustment and filter that you would have applied to the original photo. So it will actually corrupt the original pixel, while the smart object is preserving. Is almost like as if you put like a cellophane around, and then even if you put paint, you work like with transparent pieces of paper that are layered up. While if you have a rasterized layer, it's like you're literally writing with a marker on the photo, so it's harder to undo the changes. Fantastic.
Yeah, cool. Isaac is saying greetings from Ghana. Thank you so much, Isaac, for tuning in. And there was another question from Ali Raza asking if you're working with a mouse.
Yes, here it is. And Ali cabled mouse, but it's the only thing that I found with a USB-C, so it works for me. And I've got used to it. I also got a Wacom, but right now in this workspace, I don't have much space for it. Alberto is saying destructive, non-destructive. Exactly, that's the easiest way. And also, remember, a layer is just a layer, while a smart object is a box. So if I want to double click here, and for example, let's go to the libraries and bring a flower here and put just a flower like that, and then save it. When we go back to our composition, now the flower is within the layer. So it helps us to be more organized. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this because we don't need it. And I'm going to press some Command S to save, and we're going to go back to our composition. Actually,
Viola is saying nice explanation. So thank you so much for going so much into detail, Kladi.
Absolutely. And we're actually going to jump in a little bit more of detail with the colors. As you can see here, I've already lifted some colors, but we're going to get there one step at a time. And perhaps I'm going to actually do the work within the smart object so we can really appreciate the power of that smart object. So one thing that I wanted to do is to start to build some contrast, and I'm going to start changing the colors here. And I really want to change the color of the scarf because one of the files that I provided is this vector file with flowers. Let's see if we can actually have a little bit of a better preview here um, from our files. I believe is one of this one over here. So we're going to introduce the smoke. So there is going to be a lot of blue going on into our image. So I want to start to bring the blue within our photo. So I'm still within the smart object. And what I want to do here is to change the color of the scarf. So I'm going to click, first of all, on our adjustment layers and then click on hue and saturation. And as you can see here, if we change the hue and saturation, it's going to change the color of everything here. And I'm going to start to find and move towards a blue. So perhaps something like that. And then I'm going to click on the photo. And as you can see, we have our little pointer here that are surrounding our photo just to make sure that we are on the right thumbnail here. And then by clicking on select subject, I'm going to click on quick selection tool and drag it around. And see, like I literally clicked once. Sensei is becoming like super, super mind blowing how fast and how detailed this tool is. So what we've done here, and I'm going to zoom in so we can perhaps see this a little bit better.
Sensei is the artificial intelligence, right? From
Yes.
From Photoshop.
From Adobe. So
Adobe.
it's used,
yeah.
Yes. So it's a Adobe artificial intelligence.
And we have Kaito makes greetings from South Africa. Cool. I always wanted to go to South Africa. Such an interesting country to visit. I've never been on the African continent at all, except for northern, but that doesn't really count.
So as you can see here, while I'm still, after I've done the selection, and it just literally took me a couple click, I'm still on the image, and all I have to do is to click on the on an option on Mac, that's Alt on Windows, and I'm going to zoom in and see what happened when I click on option. The little plus transform into a minus, and this is going to allow me to subtract pieces of the selection. Of course, you can make the brush smaller and bigger. So I'm still into the quick selection tool.
What are the shortcuts for making the brush smaller and bigger?
Yes, so we're using the bracket. So left bracket making small, right bracket makes it big. And again, option allows you to subtract, while if you use the normal mode will allow you to bring it in. Now, perhaps I want to make sure that we have used all the pixels. So something else that I'm going to do here is to grab a little bit of extra pixel from our selection. And I'm going to do that by going now into my mask. So first of all, let me create a mask into the layer, because now she became blue as well, where we just want to work into the mask. So I'm going to unclick here, this unlink this layer mask that is affecting the hue and saturation, and put it in the bin because we don't need it. Then we click on the hue and saturation layer and click on the clipping mask. And as you can see now, the layer is applying only to the mask that we have created over here. And then what we can do with the mask selected is going under filter and header and use maximum in order to enlarge our selection. Now you cannot, perhaps, let's see if we can see this. So if we make it like a very big, of course, now is going way up to her face. So something that we want to do in a very delicate way, perhaps I will use a 0.5 and then maybe 0.3. We don't really need much of it. And then I can still use my brushes on the mask. So just click on the B to select the brush and use the right curly bracket in order to make it bigger, making sure that we are painting in on the mask with black. I can hide those pixels here that looks like that we grabbed by mistake. Now, going back here into the US saturation, as you can see, we can change the saturation and the lightness, but what I wanted to do is to how to create a lighter blue, because what happens here is that when we create the UN saturation changes, they're always pretty cool when we are working with light color, but every time that you got a darker color is a little bit of a drama. So I'm going to go in a little bit of a technical dive here just to get you an understanding of how this color mode works. And we're going to be talking about levels and the way that we perceive color. So this works, the UN saturation adjustment layer works with the hue, saturation, and lightness. And as you can see, lightness is pretty much a mathematical function that Photoshop applies to make pixels lighter and darker. But unfortunately, what it does here is to make the image all white or all black. And that pretty much flattens out all the beautiful contrast. So let's see that I wanted a lighter blue. There is no way that I can achieve it because the overall image is pretty dark. There are way too many dark pixels here. So a way that I can perhaps show you how to approach this is the fact that if we take the saturation all the way to -100, you can see the image becomes gray. And this is because the saturation is only affecting the hue and is not actually affecting anything else, because again, it's based on this mathematical function. We can actually see a difference in how these work if we use the vibrance color adjustment layer. Here it is. In this case, if I take the saturation back, oops, let me just bring it back.
Jerry's saying, just got on. What an Adobe duo. Two of my favorites, Kladi and Julia. Yay.
Yes.
Thanks for joining, Jerry. And by the way, guys, only 45 minutes until the Daily Creative Challenges reviews. So Kladi and I are going to be reviewing your Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Make sure to submit it to our Discord channel. And all the information you will find above the chat in the challenge tab. So just click that and you will find all the information, and that work we will be reviewing on the Discord channel in 45 minutes. So
Fantastic.
I'm looking forward to that.
So before finishing off in here, I was actually thinking that it's better to show you this on a more, let's see, something like that. This is just a gradient that I had ready here. It's just a rainbow gradient from the Legacy gradient panel. And the only reason why I wanted to show you this is because, oops, let me create something that is a little bit more straight where you can see all the color. Fantastic. So if we go back in what we were saying before, so we had the UN saturation adjustment, and then we have the vibrance. The UN saturation adjustment, even if we have saturation here, if we bring all to the back, we see that it's pretty much everything gray. We have a little bit of a distance here, just probably because I've not done a straight line. Oops. Here into my gradient, but if I did a good job, you could see that it's pretty much becoming all gray. Well, if we go into the vibrance, and in this case, we're still working with the saturation, but look what happened. Even if they're called the same, one is working with the HSB, in this case is this one over here, is working with the brightness, so the way that we perceive colors. The other one here is working with
hue, saturation, brightness, right? HSB?
Yeah, so HSB
hue, saturation, brightness?
Yes, is the one over here. And the brightness is the way that the human eyes perceive light and dark. So as you can see here, the yellow is perceived as lighter and the blue is perceived as darker. While the UN saturation adjustment works with a saturation that is sorry, let me just jump onto it, on the lightness. And the lightness is more of a mathematical function. I'm not going to go in depth into color theory and mathematics because I would just become confusing. But all you need to see is that, oops, over here, when you click on the saturation here, it becomes all gray. When we actually use the brightness, we have a better effect. And now I'm going and blabbing all of this because I wanted to show you that the best way to adjust and make this color lighter, and the reason why it doesn't work with the lightness, because that was our original problem. See, it doesn't give us a good result. It just flattens it out and we don't have the blue that we wanted. The best way to proceed in this case is to create a level adjustment. So I'm going to go into my adjustment and create a level. And as you can see here, we have three different sliders. And let me know in the chat, by the way, if you ever use levels. They used to be my enemies. Now they're my best friends, because once you understand the way they work, they're actually very, very useful. Alberto is saying share sticker that say fresh. Yes, let's see if I can actually like.
And there are also suggestions to. I just didn't want to interrupt you, but there are suggestions to give to make your T-shirt that says fantastic on it, because you use the word so much. That's awesome.
Fantastic, because I'm excited.
Yeah.
I
And
also
we
use
have
amazing. At the moment,
have
my
Shauna
t-shirt
here.
says
Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Yeah. And we have
So,
Shauna here in the chat. Good to see you.
hi,
Shauna was
Shauna.
here earlier, also doing some amazing, I think it was illustration work. It was really nice.
I think she was doing the introduction in Photoshop. I don't know. I
Yeah, I
think I
think
saw that
so.
on
Yeah,
stage.
I think that was it. Oh, by the way,
Fantastic.
let's
So,
jump into our schedule real quick so you guys can
okay.
see what is going on today and what we are doing. So yeah, Shauna was the first one to start off the day very early, 7:30 a.m., getting started in Photoshop. And now then Caitlin introduced you guys to the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge that we are going to be reviewing in 41 minutes. And now it's Kladi's and my turn. And after that, Kladi's going to do the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. And now we have Ben Wagner with some logo design, super cool, and Howard with the XD Daily Creative Challenge. And then we have some draw along with Kyle T. Webster and the design off with Buduval and Del Tango Mike. Cool. Delta Tango Mike. Cool. I'm really excited for that. I can't wait. Buduval is also really, really cool. Love watching her streams. She's really fun, entertaining.
She's amazing. Fantastic. So I'm going to go back here into the levels, and I can see Jan saying that level adjustment are so useful on so many levels. I agree. Julie, do you like using your level adjustment?
Yeah, totally. Why not?
They're super amazing. So let's see how we can now achieve the lightness that we wanted to bring in. Actually, in this case, I just misspoke, is the brightness that we wanted to achieve, because exactly what we were doing here with the lightness, we weren't doing much. We were just flattening colors. So with the levels, those, let me actually zoom in so we can have a little bit more of a chat, because I haven't seen many people say that they use it besides Jan.
There's a whole science to that though. So it can get really complex and can get really
well, let's try to make it simple. Let's try to make it simple.
Yeah.
So this little slider here on the left is the darker points, which are the shadows of an image, and the one on the right are the lighter colors, so the highlights. And this one here is the midpoint, which allows us to achieve contrast. But what is very, very important is this gradient that we have below here, which it tells us which is the lighter color on the image. In this case is white, and which one is the darkest color in the image, which is black. So once we have an idea that this slider here is the dark color and this one over here is the lighter one, see what happened when I move this darker color to the right. Is basically telling me that, imagine if we had to draw a line here coming from this little slider into our gradient, all the colors that are sit behind the slider are going to become black. And the reason we're going to become black is because black is our darkest color. If I actually bring the slider toward the gray, as you can see, all those colors, all the darkest colors are now gray. Because
that explains a lot. I think we have so many people probably in the chat who are like, wow, who are having this like wow moment going on. And by the way, if you guys are joining from YouTube, make sure to go to behance.net/live. This is where I'm reading the chat. So this is where you get the chance to ask all the questions and talk to us. So yeah, this is really awesome. Kladi, was a very, very on point, explanation to this. Really cool.
Well, I mean, the reason why I'm trying to share as much as possible, because they used to be my enemies, and I think that the only reason why a tool is an enemy is just because you don't know it. So I think it was nice to take this occasion to really, really do a little dive. And of course, this happens on the same side with the white. So if I'm going to bring the white in, everything will become lighter. That means that if we draw a line here, all those colors here become white, because white is the whiter color. And if I bring it into the gray, of course, at the moment, you guess it, the lighter color is this gray over here. So we're not going to have any whites anymore. So how can we do that? First of all, I'm going to apply my mask into the level adjustment. And actually, let me do something even more cool, because we're still working on the scarf. And remember, I think Camila asked the question, we're still working into our smart object. So pretty much when we're done with this, we just jump back into our composite. We don't see anything. Super nice and clean and neat. So what I'm going to be doing here is press Shift and click on both layers and press layers and press Command G. And I'm going to call this group color adjustment, just adjustment. edge because otherwise I'm going to misspell it for sure. And I'm going to right click to give it a color, perhaps blue. So I know that here we have a folder with my adjustments. And what I'm going to do is to click and drag my mask on top of the folder. So as you can see now, all the adjustments that are inside the folder will apply only into the mask, which is our headband. So now that I move back into my layers, and I'm going to start to perhaps make the colors a little bit lighter over here, and then bring in the dark out. So I really want to move the contrast just like so. As you can see, is only affecting my hairband. And then I can go into my hue and saturation, and then we can perhaps start to build the color from there. Ooh, I'm actually really digging this kind of
This is really
color.
Nice. Yeah. It looks really nice with her skin tone. It's kind of like a contrasty tone.
I think it's really nice. Should we revolutionize everything and make purple? I mean, we can still change it at the end.
Yeah. We can see what works. It looks really nice.
Let's play. It's looking nice now. Fantastic. So see the difference? If we would have played the lightness here, it just becomes gray. But applying the levels, which allow us to work on the brightness of the image instead of the lightness, we actually created the contrast and we brought out the color that we want. Fantastic.
And that's how, by the way, the use, practical use of this is, you know how you go into online shops and you have the same image, but the color of the shirt is always changing. So this is how they do it. They just change the color of the t-shirt in Photoshop.
Yes,
so that's awesome.
That's when you create a catalog. That's a very good good example. Fantastic. I'm gonna press Command S to save. We're probably gonna work on changing their earrings, but I'm gonna
David is asking how to bring up the details of the hair scarf, which is exactly what Kladi just did right now. You know, using some color, and that gives it more contrast. You know, lighting up the lighter areas a little bit.
Yeah, so what we were doing is using the adjustment levels here. So again, all you have to do is to go into your little adjustment layers icon here, which is the one, I'm going to zoom in so you can see it, the one with the half black and half white, and then go into levels. And this is going to bring up the levels. And what I've done is create a group and then apply the mask to the group. So both adjustment layers are applied to the mask. And again, what I've done is to brought in the white. So I made all those pixels lighter, and I could have also perhaps made the darkest lighter, but I don't want to flatten. I'm quite happy with this. And you can also play with the contrast here, which is the midtones. So you could really, really push it to something like that, but I think that would be too much. I was quite happy with this result. And actually, since we're here, let's do the hearing. So we'll be happy with that as well. I'm going to create another selection just like we did before. I'm going to use my quick selection tool and then click on the earring roughly like that. And then I'm going to zoom in so we see what we're doing. Alt on Option on the Mac. That's Alt on Windows in order to deselect the bit that you don't want. Just like so. And then I'm going to go under, again, Filter, Other, Minimum, in order to contract the mask here. So it looks like I'm doing something. Oh no, that's it. Fantastic. The mask radius. Let's see what's going on here with my selection. Oh, I understand what I'm doing.
See me saying, I'm amazed with the band work. Yeah, it's really cool. You can literally take an image like that and play around, bring it some cool colors.
So if you see, guys, before it was causing some issues because I was working on the image. Filters, it applies directly to the mask. So when I contract, I want to make sure that I actually click on the mask. So when I go Filter, Other, and Minimum, I actually have to select the mask. And in this case, we can bring the minimum up. And as you can see, it contracts the mask. Oops, way too much. And click on OK. Another thing that you can do is, again, to use a little bit more of detail here. Unfortunately, that should require a little bit more of time. So all I'm doing is clicking on Option and to delete the part that I don't want. Or let's create another layer.
I can hear that mouse working.
Yes, the mouse is clicking. What I'm going to do here is to create a brand new layer. Just like so. And then I'm going to apply this mask here on the layer, on the earrings, and I can actually still be able to paint in the mask the details that I want. But let's see if we can do it, because the mask is getting, as you can see, Julie, that there is a lot of like similar color between our skin tones and the shadows. So perhaps the mask is not the best way of working here. Let me find out another way that we can do. So perhaps we can just create a new layer over here, and then we can set the blending mode to color. And then from here, we can just start painting in. Let's see if that works.
Do you want to change the color of the earrings? So what do you want to do?
Yes.
Or do you want to increase the color? What I usually do is I use a layer of solid color, and then I paint I invert the mask, and I paint on top with soft light. That really
okay
helps, especially if you're working. And I was working for Panda Express, and I was retouching a lot of food images, and so that's where I kind of like make the colors pop a little bit more. I used solid color layers, and you know, let's say I have some green, so I would select a very poppy green, and I would paint on top of the image using this layer. I would invert it first, and then just paint on the parts that have to be a little bit more you know, greener or lighter. Or I use it with all the different colors, so I would mostly use red, green, white, and sometimes there was also yellows for their you know, dishes and stuff. So yeah, it's fun to do as well. There are a lot of, you know, I always say Photoshop and Illustrator, and it's like a forest. There is always a lot of different ways to reach the other side, or to reach the exit of the forest, to find a solution, which is what I mean. And so everybody can find their own way, you know, around it, and but still reach the same goal.
So the way around it that I found here is to actually create a new layer and set the blending mode to color. And as you can see, we have this little block of blending mode here. A hue, it changed the color of what something is. Saturation is only saturation. Luminosity is the brightness, but color will actually change both the hue and the saturation. And then what I've done after selecting color, I've simply went into my color field here and select this nice yellow that I wanted to use. I think it works very nice with the purple, and I'm just painting in. And then after you painting in, because the layer is set to color, all you have to do is to perhaps create an adjustment layer with a hue and saturation, and click option between the layer to clipper to the layer below, and we can still change this color because we have applied the color. So
yeah, perfect,
super fun.
Yay! You know, we could do like a little animation with a timeline.
Yes, that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's
animation. Cool. Yes.
That's awesome.
Today is more like these are artistic fun.
Yeah,
and cool. Kladi, now you have greenish color and red shadow. Yes, that's correct. I should have probably done a little bit more of a better job painting. Alberto is absolutely right. The best way to do that is I was painting with a very hard brush. I will probably bring the hardness down just to have a little bit of a smoother tone, and I can go over the little red shadow there. But also we're working very zoomed in, and once we bring it out,
yeah, you don't really see it.
Problem. No,
yeah, that's true.
But again, yeah, Alberto, good catch. That the best way to solve that problem is just to have a little bit of
smoother brush.
Softer brush. And then I think that here we can also perhaps see if we find a color. Oh, we are happy with the yellow. I think it was looking nice.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, let's see what else we can get.
And let us know in the chat if you have a favorite color.
Yeah, guys, red, nice. Green, orange.
Oh, there is also something else that I forgot to show that is super cool. So another way to do this is perhaps to use the brush replacement color here. So if you click and hold on the brush tool and use the color replacement tool, with your color selected, all you have to do is to click on your image and oops. Better do that on another layer because at the moment I'm still otherwise working distractively on the image. So I'm going to create a new layer on top of my image. And then I think I need to work on the image. So in this case, I'm going to perhaps to create a copy with Command J. Oops.
Command
And
J,
then,
one of the most used shortcuts for me.
yes, this I just wanted to show you the way these work, guys. That's amazing. So this little brush is called color replacement tool. Whatever color you're in the foreground, so let's say perhaps we select blue, whatever color you click on, it will change the color and basically recolor your artwork. It's just like super, super cool. And you can change it to like literally whatever color you want. And then all you have to do is to paint on top.
Oh,
okay,
that's
fantastic.
cool. We can even make them like striped or something.
We can do whatever
even, like,
you want.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the beauty of
awesome.
Adobe Cadabra, like Jason says. Adobe Cadabra magic. Fantastic. Yay. So I think we have done quite a nice job with this one. Again, if you wanted to do more, you can apply more adjustment layers. Again, you could perhaps play with the levels here and make that yellow a little bit better, or have a little bit more contrast. Whatever you want is
and we ready. Have a yeah, we have a question from Angela Kaba. What's the difference between hue and color blending modes?
Hue and color blending modes. Okay, so hue changes the color. So let's go here. So hue changes the color of what something is, and color apply hue and saturation together. So as you can see, hue just changing the color, and saturation applies the level of saturation of the image above. While if you click on color, and I say above because we're using the color above, color brings them together. So
and we have Jesus in the chat answering some questions for us. Thank you so much, Jesus.
Oh, fantastic. So cool. Let me see if I actually get it right. You takes just the hue, color takes hue and saturation. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Jesus. We were just saying that.
Dun, 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 dun.
Beautiful. So we've done our saturation and layers here. We can actually, we say that we're happy with this orange yellow color, and I'm going to click off Command Save and then Command W to close. Jesus, I've actually done you missed all our explanation with the level, the saturation. We went through all the difference between the brightness. I don't know if you want to know. I don't know. No, I'm just joking. I'm just teasing Jesus because he's a Photoshop encyclopedia. So I'm sure that he knows.
Yeah, Jesus, everything. By the way, guys, who of you doesn't know Jesus Ramirez, check out his PTC channel on YouTube. And it's an amazing channel if you want to learn about Photoshop, I think Illustrator. I think he has all of the different Adobe software, and they're really bite-sized videos and sharing you some really cool tips. Kladi, let's take a look at it real quick. Because I think it's a really cool resource for you guys, especially if you're a beginner. This is a really great channel to take a look at. It's called PTC.
Oh, here it is.
Photoshop.
Of course, I'm subscribed.
Yeah, Photoshop training channel.
Let's give it a shot.
And this is Jesus. Yay! Now all of you guys go and subscribe to his channel.
So Jesus has so many fantastic videos and techniques in Photoshop split into very digestible chunks, which are I find amazing. I still watch them. I always learn so much. And thank you so much, Jesus, for tuning in. And we'll always learn a lot from you. And Jesus always gives me so many tips, especially when I do mask. I used to mask everything at the same time, and Jesus always tell me to split into different areas. Layers. And I found that as a very useful tip. Okay, fantastic. So cool. What are we going to do now? We're going to bring our little friend Bird in. And we're gonna go to our properties channel and properties panel, and then we can rasterize the layer by clicking on the right and click on remove background, and boom, here it is. We have a fantastic job here. Then Command T to transform, and click on drag around the bounding box, and as you can see, we have these little arrows. They will allow us to rotate, and then if you drag in, you'll be able to move this little bird around and scale it proportionally. Now, if you want to distort the size, so perhaps make it a little bit chubbier, you can Alt Shift in order to distort the proportion, but we don't want that. So let's press Command Z in order to bring it back. Oops. And what's going on? Here it is. And then Command T. Sorry, I think my Photoshop was questioning what I was doing.
Command T for transform.
Sorry, yes, right. Command T for transform, and then click and drag in from one of the corner on the bounding box. And I really like the idea of having the bird coming from behind there, because I think it's a very like liberating sense of like feeling. That's what we are
Really.
aiming to do. And I'm
And
going
it
to
has
click
some
on
purple in
return.
it too.
Yes.
I'm wondering
So,
if we can make the earrings a little bit more greenish so they also work with the other color of the bird. That would be really cool.
of course, we can do that. And as you can see here, everything is super neat because we were working inside the smart object. So all we have to do is to double click on the smart object. And then again, we can bring this hue and saturation adjustment here for the earrings and just try to move it into a more green.
And we have
Fantastic.
Natalie Bolio here. She's saying, hi, Kladi. Is it a friend of yours?
Hello, hi, Natalie. Nice to see you. Yes, I believe Natalie works with Adobe. So thank you so much for joining in.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
All these amazing stocks here, Adobe stocks photos that we have into our libraries. But one of the most cool thing that we're going to be using now is the smoke. So as Julie was saying, Julie requested to change the earrings to right, and we went into our smart object and we got that sorted in a second. Here with those amazing apps, everything is possible. And what I'm going to do now, one of the files that I provided for you into the little clickable links, and for those of you that are joining us right now, I'm going to repeat it because it's very useful to follow along. I've created a link into my website, which is iamkladi.com/resources. If you click on starter file, you'll be able to access the actual Dropbox where you can find all the Adobe stock file that I've used for this composite. So the one that we're going to be using now is this amazing smoke. So all I have to do here is to go back into my library because I already have it here. And I'm going to bring it in by simply clicking and dragging into our image. Then I'm going to click on return in order to accept the transformation. And I'm going to click and drag to bring it down. I think that there was a shortcut for moving layers. I think it's just taught me. Yes, here it is. So if we use the shortcut command and curly bracket, and this is shout out to Asus because that's one of the speedy trick that he taught me because I really love to use shortcut on my keyboard. All you have to do is to press on command and then left curly bracket to bring a layer below. And then if you use a command and right curly bracket, you actually bring a layer up. Isn't that super cool?
Yay!
And of course,
that's
command
awesome.
on Mac, control on Windows. And then what I'm going to be doing here with this smoke is find a position, which is like right below her, maybe make it a little bit bigger. Oops, that's way too big. And
that's way too big. That got out of hand.
just like so. And then click on return in order to fix the position. And then I'm going to click on my mask. But before clicking, make sure to press on option on the Mac. That's Alt on Windows. Oops. Let's see, I already clicked once. So look what happened. If we press on option and then click on the layer mask, we already create an inverted mask. So everything is black and is hiding. And then I'm going to head here into my brushes. So let's go back and click to the brush tool. And then click into our down pointing arrow in order to browse brushes. One of the amazing brushes that I use are Webster brushes. And the one in particular that I'm looking for is a smoke sort of feel because we're going to bring smoke in. Looks what happened. If we use a solid brush, I'm going to use the right curly bracket and we bring it in into the mask by having white into our foreground color is very unnatural because everything is going to be like a circle and that doesn't look like smoke at all. And even if I bring the hardness now and we just do a smooth, it still doesn't look cool. But if we do access the amazing Webster brushes, sorry?
Webster. Just saying.
Yeah.
Kyle Webster is a Photoshop brush superstar. Not only Photoshop, I think also all the other amazing mobile apps. You can use Kyle Webster's brushes. He's really, really cool. And I think today there will be also a stream with him. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be fun too.
Fantastic. We look forward to see Kyle. And in order to bring Kyle brushes up, all you have to do is to click on a down pointing arrow on the size of your brushes here on the brush option and click on the gear icon and then click on get more brushes. And Photoshop will launch automatically the link that will allow you to, this is Kyle, and download is, oh, looks like I have to sign in. For some reason I was signed in. Let's continue. Should do that automatically. Fantastic. I don't know why I was signed out. So yes, you need to be signed in. That's a great reminder with your Adobe ID. And as you can see, we have so many, I don't know if it tells the number, but I like infinite. That's the right number. Infinite number, 1,000 brushes here created by the amazing, lovely Kyle. The one that I'll be using, if you want to use the same, are called Concept. So if you do have Photoshop open, I'm just going to use this copier just to show you the way it works. When it downloads, if you do have Photoshop opens, it brings it up straight away right here. So as you can see, those are the concept that I have, but now it's brought the new one in as well. But let's jump into our concept brushes. And all you have to do is to go back down into the one that I think is called Fat Cloud. Let's just, yeah, Cloud's Fat, here it is. And by selecting this brush here,
I imagine this like fat cloud, boom, 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 boom.
So here it is. We're gonna paint into our brushes. And maybe
nice.
I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller so we don't hit the edges. But as you can see, by using this amazing cloud brush, we are bringing in the smoke, and it actually looks a little bit nicer. And something that I like to do as well is perhaps to create a duplicate. So Command J when you click on the layer, and Command right curly bracket to bring it up. And I'm going to use the shortcut Command Delete in order to fill our mask full of black. So it's gonna hide all the pixels. And I'm gonna bring in a little bit more. Perhaps before doing so, I'm actually going to click on Command T and right click into the image and click on flip horizontal. So as you can see in the little preview, what I've done here, I've actually rotated and flipped the image. So now I have the smoke coming on this side, and I can bring a little bit lower. And then now I'm going to click back into the mask, and I can bring some smoke on her shoulder. So we have the smoke in the background, but we can add some smoke on top of her as well. So it doesn't look, fake, like something that is just sitting behind.
Yeah, because smoke usually surrounds something, right? It's not only the background, it's a little bit of it is everywhere. And correct. I feel like the objects that are closer to you are less affected by the smoke, but the further the object is away, the more it is affected. Kind of like when you have clouds, or when you have fog also creates the same effect. So if you have ever seen a foggy landscape, you will see that, like, let's say you are looking at the hills that are closer to you, they will always have more color, and the hills that are further away, they will always have a little bit more white in the color.
Yes, they're super amazing. Sorry, I was looking at the chat. I was like looking up in the chat.
John is saying this brush is fat, yo.
Yes, and he's using the PH, which it took me a while to understand what that means, and I got offended when people use it with my work before. I was like, no. But now I kind of get a better idea of what that means.
It's cool.
Fantastic. So now
Noor's saying, sorry, yeah, it's just too funny. It's just too funny. Noor saying Fat Cloud will be my next name on Behance.
No, Noor, otherwise I cannot find you anymore, even the other time. So Johnny's saying, where's there smoke, there's me. Fantastic.
Where there's smoke, there is me.
It's nice to see you here, since we are adding some smoke. So as you can see, all we did is to find this it was like an ink splash. I think it was called ink acrylic into water from Adobe stock, and we got it directly by searching in here the Adobe stock library. And let's actually do another one live. So if, for example, I do let's see what I can write. Abstract. Oops.
I love your hair, by the way, Kladi. It looks awesome. I haven't seen that it was blue before because it was in the back, but now that you kind of put it up.
Just a little bit. So it will last probably a couple days.
You should have let me know. I would have made my hair blue as well. So we will both have blue hair.
Yeah, I think that yours, because you got light hair, they stay a bit longer. With mine, they literally go away like in 2 days. And by the way, guys, sorry to interrupt you, Julie, but I had the vector clicks. That's why I couldn't really find any picture of smoke. If I go back and select photo, you can see that we can start to have a little bit more of this smoke texture. And I think that this one is actually looking fantastic. So I'm going to click on the plus to add it into my library. And then I can actually license it by clicking on these little cards. Remember, you can start using them without licensing if you're just playing around and see if this if this is the right image for you.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you're going to actually use it for your work, you got to license that baby. So I'm going to do the same thing, just simply bringing it in. So literally browse Adobe Stock without living in Photoshop, staying focused on my creation, keep creating and browsing an image, and then click on the literally little plus icon to bring it into our libraries, and then boom, license it straight away. So that took what, 5 seconds? And all we have to do is to then position it whatever we want. So we can perhaps position it over here, and we can create this whatever size we want. And again, what we did before, click on option and on the mask to hide it. And then with our amazing Cal brushes, making sure that white is on your foreground, we can start to bring this other amazing color in. Woo, loving this.
Mm-hmm.
Really, were you saying
it's
something?
Really cool. No, this is really cool. I love it. Isis is saying Kladi works fast, and I think she will work even faster if we wouldn't be talking around the corner all the time. I think she works really fast. It's really, I'm really amazed. It's really cool. But that's you know, when you become a Photoshop pro, that's you always become faster and faster.
Now.
You should see Jesus work.
We didn't even see it.
He works in the speed of light.
Well, the beauty of this stream is that you can always watch the replays. So first and foremost, don't forget to ask questions. Besides jokes, we are here to learn. So if anything of this is looking confusing, remember, just ask a question. Julie's gonna let me know. She can answer. I am happy to answer all the time. You can catch us on our social media. You can catch us, of course, on Discord. We are always super helpful.
We're everywhere.
Again, yes, we're everywhere, but also we are super happy to explain, and I'm super happy to say things twice, 3 times, whatever it takes.
Yeah,
this is the space where you can learn here, and you know, don't be afraid of ask question, because this is the opportunity to learn something more.
Exactly. Yeah,
Lisa,
totally
and she knows all the shortcuts. Someone was calling me the MacGyver shortcuts, and that made me laugh so bad, because I don't know if Julia, you ever watch MacGyver, the TV show? I used to watch it when I was
I haven't. No, I haven't.
So MacGyver is this dude that like always find himself is the most impossible solution. Oh my God, it's just asking Kladi rapping time. I'm gonna hide back behind my glasses right now, because that ain't gonna happen now. So what happened is that this MacGyver always find these solutions, and I used to be an amazing fan. So when someone told me that I was MacGyver of shortcuts, I actually got extremely excited, because it was like my hero when I was in school.
It was a compliment.
yes yeah, fantastic.
And also we have Jan's calling you DJ Kladi, and Jan is also saying that Kladi's album is about to drop.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And what do you think where Kladi's album cover will be designed in?
Yeah, that'll be actually funny. John says that I used a gradient to color my hair. Yes, absolutely. I wish that
a gradient. Yeah.
If it was for me, I would change hair color every day. Andrew Richter is happy to be here. Fantastic. Axel, nice to see you. First of all, I haven't seen you in a while. And Lisa say Kladi, but then she say I Kladi, which I think now that's gonna be my new. Instead of I am Kladi, I'm gonna change everything to I am Kladi. It's super funny.
Or DJ Kladi.
Or DJ Kladi. Fantastic. Now that we have done plenty of silliness, I'm gonna jump back
Let's
into
get back to work.
our libraries. And one of the work that I wanted to we're gonna jump back into Illustrator right now, is because one of the assets that I've provided is this vector file. Again, remember, if you're looking specifically for vectors, so for example for the flowers, all you have to do is to search the Adobe Stock library directly into Illustrator, then go to your filters and make sure that you select vectors, and that will be automatically selected for you. Of course, flower, which is your keyword, and then all these images are vectors. So one that I already have into my library here is this one that is called Vector Floral. And look what happens when you double click. It will open straight away into Illustrator. It's telling me that the symbols and everything, it's okay, don't worry. We just press okay, and it will open directly Illustrator from Photoshop. But let's see something else in terms of how can we modify this vector file in order to sit well with my illustration, with my photo composite. I'm going to go back into Photoshop, and I'm actually going to use another shortcut, which is Shift Option Command E. And what it does, it basically merges all the layers that are there, so you don't even have to select it. It just brings them all, packages, and bring it into one layer. And the reason that I've done that is because I'm going to use this layer to then jump back into my libraries and click on this little plus. Oops. And then I'm going to click into create from image. Let me see if you can show you. So this is another amazing service which is integrated with Photoshop, that is Capture. I don't know if you remember, but Capture used to be, well, still is, the app that you can use on your mobile and on apps as well, on, I think, iPad, Photoshop with the iPad. But here into Photoshop, it's amazing because it's like you're using Photoshop as a lens, and look what happened. Once I click on create from image, I'm using of course, the layers that is selected. Ooh. And you can create patterns, shapes, so like real vectors and color themes. And this is the one that I'm going to be using today. Cool. I think that that's super, super amazing. So what I
usually use Capture when I'm going to the supermarket and I really like a packaging and colors. So what I do is I extract the color scheme, and I sometimes even extract the shapes for having it later from my inspiration. And you can even access those as, you know, SVG files, vector files on your Illustrator. So I love that. I love using that, the mobile version.
So I don't know what's going on in the chat. I was reading Alberto saying, I don't remember. I don't know. Julie, let me see if you figure it out.
Alberto is saying, it was a joint composite chat that was giving requests of what subject superhero like girl was wearing. It was really fun stream.
Oh yeah, I think that's what we were doing with Asus. I was hosting Asus a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay. This is it. And then we have another question by Bharat. It's how would you prefer increasing or improving the image size?
Oh, we're going to talk about the image size in a second, but of course, at the moment I was working with I believe the 100% of the images. So before you do anything with the image size in Photoshop, you need to remember that you don't want to stretch the image too far, because otherwise it's going to look pixelated. But what I will do is exactly what I've done before. Use the shortcut Shift Option Command E to merge all the elements together, and then I will resize them with the transform tool. So pressing by pressing Command T. We're going to talk about the crop at the end as well. But now I'm going to select this color palette. So what I've done is literally drag around this little pointer like a dropper tool, and they're super cool because as you can see, they zoom in so nicely and really allow you to grab as many colors as you want. And then I click on Save CC Libraries. And
I love this color palette. It looks so good. I love these tones. You can also
keep going. You can also keep going and select more. So we have that one, and then we can bring a little bit more of this red and perhaps some more blues instead of the purples.
That's so cool.
And then click on Save to CC Libraries, and then click on Close when you're done. And what happens when we jump back into our Illustrator file? So our little themes that we created right now, they're right there ready for us to use. So how can we implement them into our design? And the reason why we do that is because we want to make sure that everything looks cohesive and nice. So what I'm going to do here is to click and drag in order to select this big flower composition, and then hold Shift and click on the background here because it looks like it's selected as well. And then click on Option on Mac, that's Alt on Windows, and drag in order to create a copy. And with this copy selected,
by the way, we are in Photoshop right now.
We're in Illustrator. So
in Illustrator. Okay, so we jumped from Photoshop to Illustrator. Sounds good.
All I did was double click onto the vector file. So that's the beauty of it. And that's to reply to the resizing question as well. If you're the beauty of working with vector within Photoshop as well is that will be easy to resize them. And I'm going to show you, hopefully we'll have time to show you how can you modify shapes in Illustrator without and then it will be updated straight away into your Photoshop file. So again, all I've done here, Julie, is double click on this file, and as you can see, it opens up again. But we're
perfect. So that's so easy.
Oh no, I think I've lost it. I think that was it.
That's awesome. By the way, if you guys are tuning in, just for the new ones who just tuned in from YouTube, make sure to go to www.be.net/life. And we're going to be reviewing the Daily Creative Challenge submissions for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge in only 2.5 minutes. So I'm so looking forward to that.
Well, thankfully we got tomorrow as well. So what I'm going to do
we have some time afterwards. So we still have another 10 minutes after, so don't worry. And otherwise, we
So
can just continue tomorrow. We still
I'll
have another day.
Yes. So Alberto is saying when you create a composite like this one, you just go with the flow, you have an idea. So Alberto, what I'll do, I'll create mood boards. Mood boards, mood boards, mood boards. I
Same.
create mood boards and then from there, I can develop and go with the flow. But I need to
Mm-hmm.
have a sort of theme. And I also create some keywords. So the keywords for this one were like freedom and tropical and women and summer. So a lot of hair and a lot of space and a lot of beautiful brightful, I don't know if brightful even
Brightful.
exists. Brightful colors. So what I'm going to be doing here is use our magic wand, which you can find on our toolbar on the left, and click on one of those colors. So for example, one of the blues. And then I'm going to go back to one of the color themes that we selected, and I'm going to start to bring in the purple, just like so. And you can do that like one color at the time. And you can start literally by clicking once into your library. And by the way, we created the color themes in Photoshop, but they are available for us to use right away. So as soon as I close the capture service in Photoshop, they were ready to use into Illustrator. And
They
then I
sync
went
to
to the
the
library
libraries. Yeah.
straight
Perfect.
away, and I double clicked on the vector image from Illustrator, from Photoshop, and it launched Illustrator. So and I'm going to show you what else you can do here with this super powerful way of working. Another way to perhaps changes all the color together is to click and drag over the image to select them all, go under edit colors, and then recolor artwork. And in this case, I'm going to create some swatches in order to recolor first. So my bad. I'm going to bring up my swatches panel here. And what I'm going to do is to right click into my color theme and click onto add theme to swatches. And I'm going to do that pretty much for all of them.
Mm-hmm. Simi is
And I'm gonna add this
asking,
one here.
what's a mood board? What's a good explanation for a mood board? I would say it's a combination of different images that will inspire you to create something new, to create a design that's kind of inspired by the mood board, but something completely of your own. So let's say a mood board can contain shapes, colors. If you're creating for branding, you take similar branding, designs to create this mood board of a combination of images that are kind of laid out over an artboard. I would say that's a good explanation.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And in the meantime, Julia, while you were talking, I just jumped on Behance real quick because Behance has this fantastic feature in creating.
Oh, can we jump into that after the DCC? Because we have
of course
give you guys some feedback on your daily creative challenge submissions, and we're gonna jump into my screen for that. I can already see that we have a bunch of amazing submissions. Thank you so much, guys, for participating. It's so cool. I'm so looking forward. Hopefully Kladi and I can give you guys some amazing feedback. And we are here on our Discord channel. And to get back to our daily creative challenge page, it's behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. And here you can take the challenge. So today's challenge is mockup prep. Prepare a mockup for production by removing imperfections such as dust or unwanted objects. So the last week, you guys have been creating a zine or a zine. Hopefully I pronounced it right. And so the challenges all had to do with the zine that you guys have been working on with Caitlin. And today's job was kind of to create this mock-up and to implement your designs into the mock-up. So let's take a look at some of you guys' submissions. This one is by Fairy. And we can see that she did a really amazing job. She implemented her design on a book that almost looks like it's been used a lot. It's really cool. I think you did a really great job here. I feel like you can add some more, noise maybe in here to kind of make it look a little bit more realistic, because when you print something, usually there is a little texture on the paper. And so that kind of gives this realistic feel and look. But you did a really great job. I would say just this portion here could look a little bit more noisy, but otherwise it looks really good. The back cover looks amazing. You did a great job in implementing the shadow here. So Kladi, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Again, like perhaps try to what we were talking about today, be a little bit mindful of the difference between brightness and lightness, because it looks like we're losing saturation just because you perhaps wanted just to make it darker. So maybe with the using the level adjustment layer, you'll be able to make the color darker, which is affected by the shadow without losing the saturation. But I love the design. I think it's fantastic. I think it's very fun, and I think the mockup is also very fun.
Yeah, super cool, and almost looks like a self-taken image, which I think is really really cool. And I think this is the original image? That could be the case. Super
Yeah, it looks
cool,
like.
awesome. And next one we have a JD here, and we have, I think this is just the original image, and I'm looking forward to see your your artwork on top of it. So that would be really really cool. Or maybe you have been working on it just a little bit too. It looks like you have been adjusting this page here to maybe implement your design afterwards. So you did a great job. I think you were trying to remove some color. There are a little leftovers here of the blue color on the edges. So make sure to keep those nice and clean when you mask out, when you mask out the surface. Keep
And
them
there is
nice and clean.
actually, sorry to interrupt you, Julie, but
Yeah.
before changing the topic, because you nailed it there with the color, there is actually an option in the selected mask workspace, which is called decontaminate color. Is it towards the bottom of the mask and select tool, and that will do exactly the job there
Mm-hmm.
in order
Yeah.
to get rid of that blue highlight there.
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. Hopefully that was helpful. Now let's get to the next one. The next one is L Watch. We have one version, cover with design, inside touch up, inside with design. Okay, so let's jump into the first one. Here we have the touch up of the. Oh, okay. So you did. Okay, so you did do some more work on that. I
I
guess
think it's
you
a different
removed the.
person.
Oh, okay. So this is just a mock-up that
Yeah.
has been used. Okay, cool. But because it looks like the same exact, taken image, it looks almost like it's self-taken. That's why I get a little confused.
Mhm.
But here you did a great job. I think the applied design looks really, really good to me. And maybe I would add a little highlight here on this side of the cover, just because you have this shadow kind of crossing the book, and you have that shadow here as well. So I would definitely repeat that same shadow here in your artwork. So I would maybe overlay this book cover with a little darker surface and blend it in. What do
So
you think?
Julie, it looks like that today it wasn't about making the mockup, but to clean the mockup. So like
Clean the
how to
mock-up.
create
Mm-hmm.
a from a file. That's what I'm reading from. I believe it was Alberto. I was saying someone in the chat was letting us know that they were focusing on cleaning
Oh
up the
yeah, yeah.
mockup.
Susan is saying the challenge today was to cleaning up the mock-up. Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. But here the artwork was already applied. So right? So this person probably went a step ahead and already applied that artwork.
Yeah, I
So
think it
what do
looks
you think?
fantastic. I think it
Yeah,
looks
it looks good.
fantastic. It would have if I wanted just to be like very picky, I would probably just match the color a little bit, just by making sure, because it looks like, can you see where the shadows falls in? If you
Mm-hmm.
actually see the original one, you can almost see the line going through. Well, if
Yeah.
you see the mocked up one, you kind of lose the shadow completely on top of the
Exactly.
color.
That's what I was mentioning as well. I would say that's just the one only small thing, but otherwise this looks really, really great. And Al Watch, you did a really great job. Thank you so much for submitting this. And then the spread so far a little behind. Let's take a look at this. Oh, so it looks like this is the zine. I'm not sure how to
Mm-hmm.
pronounce it, zine or zine,
Oh no, you're asking
because
the
it's
wrong person.
magazine. It's magazine, so I think it's zine. Okay,
I'm
cool.
sure it's
So
Zine because I pronounce Zine, so I always do things in the wrong way. So I'm sure you're right.
or maybe it's Zine. Let us know in the
No, no,
chat,
no.
guys.
Oh no, don't listen to me. For everything in terms of pronunciation and word, if I'm talking Photoshop or Illustrator, yeah, maybe, but otherwise, no.
Cool. Yeah. So I think this could be cool once it's printed and folded. I'm just wondering how the transition here works, because it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be divided in four different double-sided pages.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering what exactly this would look like when it's once it's printed. But I like that you're kind of reusing the similar colors, and you have a little Black Lives Matter poster in the background, which I think is cool. I would love to see this artwork upside down, to better imagine it. But I'm just trying to understand. But it looks really, really cool. I
Yeah, I
mean,
love the color palette as well. I think it's a
yeah, the
fantastic
color
job.
palette is awesome. I would love to know what this page is for, what is going to be on here. Cool. I
I love
love
the way
the
that it's like a photography and illustration at the same time.
it's a really cool experimenting, work. Yeah, well done. Do you have anything to
Fantastic.
add, Kladi?
No, I think you covered exactly what I was thinking on there, but it looks really cool. I love the
Cool.
colors in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right. And next one up is Fairy. And Fairy has been working on this mock-up. It's really difficult to imagine because I'm not sure how it looked in the beginning, but it looks like you have touched up a little bit on the appearance here and on the background. This is what I'm thinking. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it probably looks like she removed the top color of the cover,
Uh-huh.
and then it's been updated with a more of a blue color. And I
Uh-huh.
think you've done a pretty good job. There is a little bit on the nail on her right hand, but I think that overall is very, very well done.
Yeah.
Very, very fantastic job here.
Yeah. Great job.
Ready to be used to layer some image on top.
Yay! And
I
this is
mean,
how you guys can also make mock-ups for yourself. You can just take a picture, then touch it up a little bit and put your designs on top of it in Photoshop. And I have even done that in Illustrator. But Photoshop, I think, will be the better way to do it.
by the way, Nor is telling us there is Z, no Zine. As I said, I was
Zine.
going to be wrong. Thank you so much, Nor.
Wait,
Really appreciate that.
but Nora is also saying zine and zine.
Okay, fantastic. So we're all
I'm not
right.
sure.
Loving that. Loving that. Fantastic.
Okay. All right. And Biola is saying trying to find my design groove. Cool.
And I want to say hi to Michelle. Hi, Michelle. I haven't seen you before. Nice to see you here.
I have seen Michelle, I think. I might have. Cool. All right. So we have next up, and we have Tasha here with a double. I think this is
Ooh,
a double page. I'm not sure. Is it supposed to be folded?
very poetic.
It might be. Yeah, it looks super poetic and super romantic. I would say I love the color palette. I love how you're kind of taking out the green from the plant and then repeating the green and the quote marks, and also in this little rectangle element, and also some color splashes around it. I think this you did a great job here. What do you think, Kladi?
It looks fantastic. The beauty of an artwork is when you can just like glance at it and you already know what it's all about. So
Yeah.
you can already I think you've done a great job in conveying what the topic is about. You definitely set the right mood and look and feel for what you were trying to achieve. And you've done a fantastic job by keeping the color palette coherent and consistent. So thumbs up, very well done. And I love that perhaps knowledge could be the title of the poetry or of this quote, and you have definitely made a hierarchy of the keyword. So even if I'm not looking at it right now anymore, I know that the keyword is going to be knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah, totally. And I will maybe play around with the size of the typeface. I'm not sure how this is going to be printed, but it seems like the typeface is a little small, or for me, it's not very easy to read. Maybe there is a way to play around, maybe with different typefaces, just to make it better legible. Because, but on the other hand, I get why you want to kind of have it look like it's self-written. So I'm sure you can play around a little bit with the spacing also between the letters, and otherwise it's really great. I can really imagine this as part of a poetry zine. Okay, all right. And next one we have Fanny. Fanny, this is a really
That
cool.
looks fun.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It looks like you were cut out from the page and put right next to it, right?
That's super cool. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I've seen what Kathleen was doing there. She was doing a very, very amazing job, and I think that was the one of the goal of this challenge. I don't remember which one of the challenges that, but it
Mm-hmm.
was the entire like cutout, and she was creating something super, super cool. Pop up book, I think it's
Add
the
movement,
pop up.
maybe? Oh, no, no, man. Oh,
I think it
pop-up
was the
book.
pop up book.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
So super, super
Awesome.
fun.
By the way,
Also,
guys, if you guys are new to this, you feel free to submit yesterday's challenge. You know, there's always a chance to get your challenges reviewed, even if you're a little bit late on time. Sorry, Kladi. What were you saying?
no, don't worry. I would just for now I was reading the chat, so I was just like lost into my screen. But I was saying that I think she's done a fantastic job keeping the mood, and again, like someone asked me before, what is best to do? The best thing to do is always depends on the topic, on the mood, and that's I'm kind of like attaching myself back to the mood boards, because that's that's the entire point, to understand the look and feel and what you're trying to convey with the image. So I think that's a fantastic job. The star, the position of the photo, the color, the
The
hair,
stars look
everything,
so realistic, like
everything.
as if they
Yeah,
actually been cut out here. You can
so
see
cool.
those like scissor marks and imperfections. So super well done.
So I
Well
was
done,
gonna.
Fanny.
Oh, it's okay. Never
Oh,
mind.
sorry.
No worry, no worry,
Go
no worry.
ahead.
I was just saying like that. Everything has to speak the same language
Yeah,
with the image.
totally agree. And it does over here. I think it's perfect. It's great job. All right, and next one up is Emmy. Ooh, this looks really cool. I love it. I love the way you kind of experiment with different maps and kind of implement things into them. And the use of your typeface is also really good. I love the way you have this title here designed in the same way, like you have it here, and you're kind of reusing the colors over and over, which makes it really cohesive. And here, this typewriter typeface you also reuse on these two pages. So I think you did a really great job. I would love to see this printed, honestly. And yeah, I can't wait to see some mock-ups from you. What do you think,
Yeah,
Kladi?
it looks fantastic. I love the way that is used the cartography in the first page, and then it looks like this is like an imposition for a folded design. So
Yeah.
it's basically up and down, and then I think it's very fun to have the map into the hand, and really bringing through the history of cartography and geography in terms of location. So I think is very well constructed in terms of topic and color palette. I would probably perhaps use exactly what we were doing before with the capture service in terms to lift the color theme and try to align the blues. So maybe we have just two
Yeah.
blues, because there
Yeah.
is one that is going more to the purple, and I think it's kind
Yeah.
of like taking a little bit out of design, because if you do keep a couple color, you can perhaps thinking about printing it and printing with risograph, which will be a fantastic way of printing this particular design, because
Yeah.
risograph will allow you to print also with fluorescent and metallic color, and it's super cheap and very affordable, and it's very often used for independent press jobs. So very well done, really cool.
Cool. Awesome. I think that's a great tip with the risograph. I think it will be really, I would love to see this printed. Honestly, I'm the prototype person. I love prototyping. I love printing things right away. If for some of you who know me, this is really cool. And Colleen is here. So now I understand, how it's being folded. And if you look at this, you can see that the backside is folded first, then it's folded to the halves, and then it's folded again, so that when you open it, the first thing you see basically on the inside are these two pages. So that totally makes sense now. Now let's take a look at Colleen's work. So Colleen has filled out 3 pages so far, and I think it's looking really great. It's called State Fair Boulevard, and it seems like it's all about a state fair. A poster crowd only wins. Oh, there is a quote here, and there is a cool experiment with color, which I really love. It looks really cool. And here, some days in late August at home. Okay, so this is also pretty. It seems very poetic to me, and there is a lot of experiment and Photoshop going on with colors. With using what's it called, not gradients, but like if you're using tone on tone colors. This is really cool. And yeah, what do you
Duotone?
think, Kladi? Hmm?
Duotone? I don't know what you were mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very vintagey looking. I think I can definitely feel like a 90s vibe out of it.
Yeah.
And especially with
Totally.
the colorful gradients and the fluorescent type.
Yeah.
Um, I think it definitely feels the sort of um, what is the best way of like it completely convey even the font. I think they're spot on where you say State Fair. I
Hmm.
think it definitely convey the image. I will probably just work. I will move the purple of the
Hmm.
sheep into an orangey color just to keep the
Hmm.
color theme,
Yeah.
because otherwise it looks like the cover is getting a little cold there,
Hmm.
and just to tie in also the contrast with the title. So I'll probably just move that purple into an orange, but otherwise I love it.
Yeah, the
And
sheep, right? So it kind of
yeah,
repeats these two colors here, this orangey sepia kind of tone, and then this blue, maybe you can adjust it to this type of color that's in the background, right? Is that what you mean?
yeah,
To make it a little bit
correct.
warmer. Yeah, I
Yes.
totally agree. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for submitting your artwork. And we're going to make sure our mentors are going to make sure also to give you guys some feedback on the channel. And feel free to also give each other feedback. So whenever you see someone and you really love their work, let them know. Why not? We are here to learn from each other. And maybe you have some tips for each other. So make sure to share those as well. And here you can also submit the past challenges in the past challenge hashtag, as I was mentioning earlier. So if you are, just starting off and you want to do some past challenges, make sure to submit those here. Here you can also submit your portfolio and some other things, ask questions, tips and tricks, and so on. So yeah, feel free to join us on our Discord and yeah, submit your challenge for review. And we're gonna go back to Kladi's to have another 10 minutes of designing and kind of wrapping up things in her
Yes.
file
So
so that
I have before we jump back into Photoshop, since we're talking about zines and risograph, I have here open something that I created in Illustrator and then paper. So I've designed some origami instruction to create a teapot,
oh,
and then I've riso printed them. So as you can see, you have the gold textures and the blue. So
oh
I just
nice.
wanted to show what I was talking about. I'm a big fan of the riso printing, and also I've pretty much created the same booklet by folding with a Japanese fold, I believe it's called. And then I really try to keep the theme of the tea and the Japanese illustration. But look at this, Julie, I've actually hand sewn about 5,000 booklet by
I
hand with the
love book binding. It's so much fun. I have created some notebooks in the past, some self-bound. When I was in India, they had this beautiful handmade paper. And so what we would do at our university, we had all those machines, cutting machines and so on. So we would do a lot of book binding. And when I came back from India, I had like a half of a suitcase filled with empty notebooks that I was, so excited to fill with new ideas. So yeah, it's really great. I love your work. It's really nice.
Yes, it was very hard. Thank you. But it was very, like, if you can imagine hand sewn 5,000 of those, it's
Yeah,
been many, many of sleepless night. And also the each single cover was hand stamped as well. But yeah, I think that was
nice.
the sort of fold that was going on into that, as into the zine as well that Kathleen was doing. Fantastic. But let's jump back into our Illustrator. So what we were doing here, jumping in between Illustrator and Photoshop to really create a power workflow between these two amazing apps, it was to recolor this illustration that we downloaded and licensed from Adobe Stock. Sorry about my little headphones moving here. And now what I'm doing is, after having lifted the color with the capture service within Photoshop, I'm applying the color to the illustration. I have now created the color swatches into our swatches panel by right clicking into the swatches and click to add theme to swatches. And then what I can do as well is mix and match. So for example, I can bring the green over here, I can bring this yellow over here, or maybe the purple, in order to create one single little collection library here that has all the color together. And the reason why I'm doing that is because then when I go ahead and click and drag and select my vector item, I can go under edit and then edit colors and recolor artwork, and we can use this new capture color in order to recolor our illustration fully. And then you can click and drag in order to swap the color and really use something that makes more sense. So perhaps I would swap the pink with the green, and I would just move the color around so they make a little bit more sense. And I really want to make a little bit more of a statement of the blues. So I'm really trying to understand perhaps these gray colors over here. I will perhaps move the blues over there. So and when I say blues, I mean simply the blue. It sounds like I mentioned blues music. Or you can also recolor it completely by swapping to another swatches.
That's super cool. It can save you so much time, selecting all the different parts of the artwork. What I sometimes do is I use select same color. That also works pretty well. So now if you click into the illustration, if you would select one certain object and its color, and then in the top bar select same color, and that can also help you to select the same colored objects to
from where. So if I select an object,
select an object, go into the group. So you only have one surface that's with one color, and then go into select same.
Oh yeah.
And color, fill color. Yeah.
Fill color.
And now it will select all the same fill colors in that group.
Oh, obviously. Yeah. Yes. Well, it's pretty much like using
recolor them. It's the same thing. Yeah. But
the same thing.
What you're saying really, makes it so much even more easy than just selecting the same color, because you can apply a whole color scheme to an artwork.
Yes, but also you can use the magic wand when you enter a group and just click on the magic wand, click on one color, and boom, it selects all the color of the same color. And then we can go ahead into our palettes and really make the most out of it. I'm actually liking this one.
Yeah, it's so pretty. I love it.
Once you're happy with your design, all you have to do is to select, making sure that you select all the vectors, and click and drag them back into your vector, into your library. And as you can see, it's been updated there. And I'm going to actually update this one as well. Perhaps I'm going to change the greens over here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the green colors and making sure that we find the green that is a little bit more in more shapes. And it doesn't matter even if more are the same colors, because usually those complex illustrations showcase a lot of different tints, but I don't mind just to kind of bring it more a cohesive look by sharing one color. So what I was doing here, even for perhaps the brown, I'm going to use the same brown of our image, and even the yellow, just again to tie it up and making sure that we are making more a cohesive look. Once you're done and you've edited the actual image, you can click and drag on it and then bring them back into our libraries, and that create a separate object. So what happens, let's see if it's actually here. I'm not sure if I brought it in. I'm going to click and drag again to make sure that it's actually saved there. You can also right click on it and click to add to library to make sure that it gets added to your library. And then what we can do here is to jump back into Photoshop. And as you can see, our rose is still here. So all you have to do is to click and drag and click on return. Now make sure that we bring it on top of our layers. And I'm going to disable the layer there, press on Command T to edit the size. And I'm going to position it around here, and maybe again using the shortcut Command left curly bracket, I'm going to bring it behind there. I'm not sure if I like all these splashes there, something like so. And then you can play with its opacity because it's looking a little bit too dark, so it looks like it's a little bit too much in contrast with the image. And you can do the same with the other little illustration that we were doing here. It's under the flower, I believe. I'm going to click and drag to bring it up, and I'm going to use the shortcut Command right curly bracket to bring it in and transform it by pressing Command T on Mac. That's Control 3 on Windows. And as you can see, the green is exactly the same green of the earring. The purple is the same purple of her hairband, because we matched the illustration to work together. I think I'll probably bring back this white flower because the darker purple I think is becoming a little bit too confusing. But again, you can play with them as much time as you want. And let's say that perhaps this a flower was looking confusing and I don't like the color. If you go back and you find it into your library, here it is, and you double click on it, it will open the actual file in Illustrator. And all I have to do
and then
is
we can work on that. Kladi,
Yeah,
we have to wrap up because we can continue tomorrow. We can experiment a little bit
absolutely.
more tomorrow. We only have 1 minute left. So thank you so much, everyone. We had an amazing conversation with you guys. Make sure to join us on Instagram. Follow Kladi with I am Kladi and I'm Julia Maselska. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you so much, Kladi. It was really, really amazing. So much fun.
And I'll catch you in a minute with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge.
Yay!
So
Stay
stay
tuned,
tuned.
guys. Yay!